Believe it or not, this little SMG, Rapacious Appetite, has been highly requested. Not sure why, a ton in the comment section, a ton on Twitter. Maybe people want to see if they're missing out on something, or maybe they just simply think that it's great. I've also seen a ton of people say, oh, it's just a mini immortal. No. It is not. This thing was power crept the moment you laid eyes on it. It has the inherent bad qualities of the aggressive frame. You have to climb yourself out. So like Immortal doesn't have to do that. So I want to do a fairly quick one today. We're just going to go straight through it. There's no need to try to transform this thing and turn it into something that it's not. Because I see 5 playstyles with this that can and do work. It starts with 6 stability. I mean, if you want to call it a mini cold front, we could do that if you want. And the other base stats align with the aggressive frame SMG. It's stasis, has the hunger origin trait, better handling, stability, and reload when no abilities are fully charged. Honestly, pound for pound, one of the best buffs from an origin trait, but it's got a great cost, something that I personally don't like. So for the first roll, First Strand Hunter in the Crucible, well-rounded target lock. Now well-rounded, at ×2, plus 20 stability, plus 20 range, plus 20 handling, 15 seconds. You can easily do that with Double Grapple Hunter. And for the craft, I have mine set up Stability Masterwork because it starts with 6. Hammer Forged Rifling, Ricochet Rounds. So that gets it to 58 range, 26 stability. Well-rounded ×2, we go to 78 range, 46 stability. Now this can hang with some of the best SMGs in the game. And on the other side, we got Target Lock. This thing will perform, well-rounded ×2. And Target Lock has been a weird pick. It feels like a storm's coming for it. It's very popular and might get changed. We're gonna have to see. But specific to Strand Hunter, this is a good SMG. On to roll number 2. We trade out well-rounded for perpetual motion. This is 20 stability after moving for those 10 seconds. Again, helps out a ton. It starts out at 6. This is going to be the default roll for a lot of you if you do craft it, because you grab every inch that you can out of this thing for stability, for damage, all of it, pushing everything out a little bit. And again, it can hang, sure, but it really doesn't have the sauce and the juice that the more well-known aggressive SMGs have. So for me and a lot of you, it's not replacing Immortal. It's never going to do that. But if you don't have one, this can work. It will be able to duel them and anything in that range. Ultimately though, we're gonna have to see how the sandbox plays out. What changes go on when everything gets switched up, if perks get buffed or nerfed. The third way, we're still gonna stick with the Crucible. It's gonna be a switch build, the switch SMG. The goal is to use other weapons, like a sniper rifle or whatnot, get kills with that, switch to it. It works well because we have Harmony or Cascade Point. And I went with Cascade Point for a double Cascade Point build. Very fun, and for me, this is where I went. This is where this SMG roll is going to stay, because in this slot, we do have some switch style weapons, but as an aggressive, especially Cascade in that slot, I find value, and it's going to be Perpetual Motion Cascade Point. On to the fourth way, which we're starting to get into PvE, obviously Stasis, but my issue with it, there is another really good Stasis aggressive, Blood Feud. So now we're at a point it's going to depend on what you have, because for the Stasis build, you would go with Headstone, and in the third column, honestly Encore. You get the most range and stability, make this thing feel a little bit better. You're going to be mowing through ads, it works out. But I really like Ambitious Assassin on Blood Feud with Headstone or a damage perk. SMGs do very well in PvE, Ambitious Assassin gets that mag up there. And overall, there are a ton of Stasis weapons now that can do a Headstone build. It's going to be an option if you want it. Now the final way is damage. It's going to be there, 3 routes, one for all, Frenzy, Target Lock. I would go with Frenzy, because Frenzy helps its low stats. It goes to 100 reload, 100 handling, 15% more damage. With that pairing, I again would go Encore, because the max stack of Encore ×4 with Frenzy up, we got 62 range to push out damage, that 15% that we're getting. 38 stability, which is really crazy when you sit down and think about it. It's like 5 times the base stability, kind of stupid. 100 reload, 100 handling. A perfect just mow and go SMG. All of these are going to work, and it really depends on what you have, because at this point in the game, I'm sure the majority of you have things that can do what this thing could do. But for those that don't, this isn't a bad SMG, because it has the perks to make up for its downfalls. All the talk is really coming from what it's crept to. But as you've seen, it does fine. Like Encore Frenzy, it does fine. But what's really weird, we've seen this with a couple weapons, like it really corners you when it comes to the perk pool, because PvP wise in that fourth column, we have Target Lock. Like that's it. You're not gonna do One for All. You're not gonna do Focus Fury. Maybe Frenzy, because then we start switching into those switch builds, Harmony, Cascade Point. Same deal for PvE. It pushes you to headstone because it's a stasis weapon, or those tried and true perks, Frenzy, One for All. So when I say that I see 5 ways to play, I think those are the main ones. And sometimes when I do reviews, what I try to do, I need to show you what's going on, but I also need to be real with you. I need to be a realist about it. Like for me, the only thing I'm interested in is Cascade Point, really, to pair with another Cascade Point weapon for the Crucible. Because what this thing can do in PvE, I have better SMGs. For a straight dueling SMG in the Crucible, I have better SMGs. But we all need to remember, a lot of the good weapons in the game, like Immortal, they are RNG. And believe it or not, there is a case that you could get a really poorly rolled Immortal, and this little thing is gonna outdo it. Crazy as that sounds, but it can, because you can craft it. I think for most, this is gonna be a dud, but it can shine in the ways that I went over. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Let's talk about Rapacious Appetite down below. What are your thoughts? How's it stacking up to other SMGs that you have? Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.